Okay, now that we have a better understanding of the drawing environment, the next thing we want to talk about is importing files into the BobCAD software. Now, as a Windows product, you can just drag and drop to bring files in. So you can go to a folder that you want to work with, you can pick a file, and you can just drag and drop it right into the environment. And that's one way in which you can open up your files. Okay. Another way you can do this is just by using the file open option. So you can go to, it's the second option up here at the top, where you can go to file and then open, and then look for the file in the directory and then choose open. Either of these methods will work to import your geometry. Now, once you get your geometry in, it'll probably be zoomed in on it. So what you're going to want to do is zoom out a little bit, and this is going to show where the geometry is in reference to 0. Now, we can move the 0 to the part, but for new users, I typically recommend moving the part to 0. So the 0 over here is going to represent the 0 for our job. So what we're going to want to do is take this geometry from here, this corner, and we want to move it over to here. Okay, so all of our editing is done under the Utilities tab. So we'll come up to the top here where it says Utilities, and the function for move is called Translate. So we'll click on the first icon here called Translate. Okay, what that's going to do is open up the Translate data entry, and the way these toolbars are designed is to work from the top down. We're highlighted in the selected geometry area, so what we want to do is select our geometry. Now, this picking manager is a new function to version 36, and it helps with selecting chains. What I'm going to do is actually just dock this over on this toolbar here, so that way when it comes up it doesn't pop up on the screen. Okay. For this geometry selection, we're just going to do a window selection. So we'll bring our mouse above and to the left of the geometry. We'll click and hold our left mouse button. We'll drag a window down and below, and that will select all the geometry. Now, by default, it will find the center of the geometry and use that as its reference point. But what we want to do is come over to where it says Start Point and choose Pick. Okay, from here, we can zoom into this corner. We're going to move our mouse over this line here. We'll see a snap point comes up. We'll highlight that snap point. We'll know it's highlighted because it turns red. We'll left click on it, and that will bring our initial position where we're going to move from. And then the next thing we want to do, we can either pick or enter a position. In this case, we're going to highlight the X. We'll hit 0, tab, 0, tab, and then we'll see the geometry moves to 0. Okay. From here, we're going to choose OK, and then we'll hit cancel, or you can hit escape to get out of the translate function. Okay. So at this point, we've moved our geometry to 0. Now we're cutting on a CNC router here, so we do have the stock size drawn as that outside shape, so that's perfect. It makes it easy to line up our 0 position. The next thing we want to do is just verify our geometry. Sometimes when you import things, they don't come out right. So just as a sanity check, we're going to want to evaluate the geometry. So we'll go to the Evaluate tab. There's two ways you can do it. If we choose Measure 1, we can click Measure 1. We can click on one of these entities. Okay, and then under our Measure Entity window here, we'll see all the information about what we've selected. So this will tell us the length of that line. And as long as that matches up for what we're looking for, then we know we're good to go. All right, so again, as a Windows-based product, you can import your geometry using drag or drop, or you can do File Open or use the File Open option here. Now, after you've positioned the geometry in its location, it is recommended that you save the file. So we're going to do a Save As. Okay, using Save As, we're going to give it a name. This way it saves it as a native file versus as a neutral file extension. All right, in the next video, we'll talk about setting up the cam tree.